Hey, this is Steve in Dallas, Texas. It's Saturday morning, my friend, and you are listening to Light Talk. Coming to you direct from New York City, this is Dennis. And you're still listening to Light Talk.
And this is Ellen coming to you from the beautiful island of St. Bart's. And today we have a very special guest. Colleen Doherty is joining us on Light Talk as part of our ongoing designer series.
And this is David coming to you from the beautiful Belmont Shore neighborhood of Long Beach, California. If you don't already know, you are listening to Light Talk, and we are the Lumen Brothers
and Sister.
That's right, Ellen. Welcome, everyone, to episode 443. Before we get to Colleen, we're actually going to start off the show with some not-so-new news. Hey, the Prime Time Emmy Awards. Well, we've been pretty busy the last 2 weeks. We've had guests on the show, and the Prime Time Emmy Awards came and they went. So we're going to just talk a little bit about them at the top of the show today. So I have a couple of things to announce about these awards. The big news is that my favorite show of the year, Adolescence, won 8 awards, including Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series. And as listeners of the show know, I went on and on for weeks about Adolescence. I just thought it was just excellent all the way around. Technically, dramatically, acting, it was just unbelievable. But, however, more surprising, Barack Obama took home an Emmy for Outstanding Narration for the brilliant documentary Our Oceans, proving once again that his voice could probably calm down a shark. But in a surprise twist, after threats of lawsuits and everyone in the entertainment business being sacked and deported, the Emmy committee added a last-minute category: Outstanding Rambling in a Language Known Only to the Speaker. And the winner, Donald Trump, for his recent United Nations address. A speech so deranged and confusing, even Google Translate filed a complaint. So, Dennis, knowing that, as a member of the Academy, would you like to tell our listeners who was honored a week ago with a Primetime Emmy?
I don't know if I can do this without my cinematography. Let me get some Tylenol. Sure, no problem at all. You'll be happy to know, David, that your favorite show, The Adolescents, won the Emmy for Outstanding Cinematographer for Limited Anthology Series or Movie. And the DP who won is Matthew Lewis. Now, I know it's your favorite show, but I actually thought Penguin looked better, but that's my own particular feeling. As you know, there's several different categories. Outstanding Cinematography Emmy for a half-hour series was The Studio, and the DP for that was Adam Newport-Barra. The Outstanding Cinematography Emmy for a 1-hour series was, I think, David's second favorite show, Severance. And the DP for that was Jessica Lee Gagne. Again, I would have preferred Étoile. I don't know if people saw Étoile, the dance series, or even Day of the Jackal, but, so be it. The Lighting Design Direction Emmys went to, for Outstanding Lighting Design and Direction of a Series, it went to Saturday Night Live, the show that was hosted by Lady Gaga. And my good friends Jeff Amaral and Rick McGinnis won, which makes me happy. And the Emmy for Outstanding Lighting Design and Direction for a Special went to the 67th Annual Grammy Awards on CBS. Once more, lighting designer Noah Mitz was the recipient, and a gaggle of lighting directors, Andy O'Reilly, Patrick Boozer, Ryan Tanker, Aaron Anderson, Madigan Stahley, William Gossett, Brian Klunder, Hannah Kerman, and Matt Benson. And well-deserved. I was very pleased about Saturday Night Live because the LBs are friends
Saturday
of mine.
Night Live also won the Emmy for Outstanding Production Design for a variety show or reality series.
Yes, it did.
And the other production design award that I thought was interesting went to the Oscars. Misty Buckley and her team. So I thought that was really
right for the
production design. So I thought that was nice. I think it's interesting that the Oscars and the Grammys are winning Emmys.
And it's funny because Saturday Night Live won for series, but they were also nominated for special for their 50th anniversary special. Right. But that Emmy went to the Grammys.
It's all getting really confusing between the Emmys and the Grammys and the Tonys, and oh my God. Don't these people in Hollywood have anything better to do than to give each other awards?
What we need to do is establish the Light Talk Awards.
Right. That's a good idea.
Well, those are coming up. They're coming up.
Okay.
We should do Light Talk Awards at LDI this year.
Oh, now that'd be special.
That'll get some fist fights going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dennis. That was great. Let's get started with the show. And Ellen, would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about Colleen?
I'd love to. I love her opening quote. Colleen's love of lighting design is rooted in the power of storytelling and its ability to change the world. The lighting design of a show creates the air that characters breathe. The audience breathes that same air and is pulled into the world of the play. So Colleen is a Florida-born, New York-based lighting designer with an MFA in lighting design from Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers University. She worked as an assistant lighting designer on Broadway for Death Becomes Her and Here Lies Love with lighting designer Justin Townsend, and made her regional lighting design debut at Hartford Stage in January 2023 with a new play, Espejos Clean. Colleen made her off-Broadway lighting design debut with a new musical, Ghost of John McCain, at Soho Playhouse in September 2024. Prior to attending graduate school, Colleen worked as the resident lighting designer and assistant master electrician at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater in Orlando, Florida. She is a proud member of USA 829 and will be speaking at LDI this year in Las Vegas. So welcome to Light Talk.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I have a quick question first. I always just because something in the bio always. So you worked at Orlando Shakespeare Company. I worked there about 40 years ago.
No way! Oh wow, what a small world.
Yeah, I was there back then.
Oh wow!
Did you carve your name in a certain part of the backstage that you know?
Yeah, there you go. Were you born in Orlando? What part of Florida were you born in?
I was born in Jacksonville, so it's northern Florida or southern Georgia, depending on who you ask.
Really Georgia. But
yeah,
that's all the same.
Yeah.
Florida's a weird place, man.
Yes.
Weird. I grew up in Florida during the 60s and 70s. But well, welcome to Light Talk. It's so great to have you here, especially as part of our Young Designers series. And you are in it up to your neck. I mean, you're on Broadway already. You're doing shows all over the place. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm at Weston Theater Company in Weston, Vermont. I'm in the middle of tech, where I'm lighting a new musical called The Twelfth Night Show. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a musical version of Twelfth Night. But the concept of it, it's like the 12th night and the play that goes wrong had a baby. Like the cast of this new musical of 12th Night has all come up with food poisoning on opening night. So the show has to be put on by the 4 actor musicians who were the band. And it's really lovely and sweet and wholesome and fun. And the music is fantastic. So it's been a good time.
I was going to say, how far north in Vermont are you?
To be honest, I don't know. I know that the town of Stowe, Vermont is like 2 or 3 hours north of me, so I'm probably somewhere in the middle.
Not so bad.
I don't really know. I'm just here.
Not so far north.
I got on the train and then I got off the train.
So it's a lovely, lovely state.
It's been great. This is such a lovely place to be, especially with the fall starting up. Like, it's beautiful here.
The leaves.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Where do you go from there?
From here, I go over to Goodspeed Theater in Connecticut, where I'm going to light a new musical called The Great Emu Wars, which is based on a moment in Australian history. I think it was just after World War II. Or World War I, after one of those wars, this township in Western Australia wanted to eradicate all the emus from the countryside because they were destroying their crops. And the township fails at this spectacularly. And this really happened. And the whole musical is about this moment in time, but it's all told from the perspective of the emus.
What kind of mind comes up with that?
I have no idea.
Someone's sitting around drinking a beer and goes, we need a musical about
I
emus.
know. Some dudes in Australia were like, this story needs to be told by birds. Let's go. And so we're going.
That's funny.
I hate to interrupt this, but this is so unusual. I'm holding a box off my office shelf, and the only reason I'm holding it, because inside this box is, unfortunately, our audience can't see it, this is an emu egg.
Well,
don't ask me why I have it, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
Great.
Special thanks to my old friend John Reynolds, who's now an LD in Gaffer, who used to raise emus.
are the emus in the musical puppets?
Yes. The actors are all wearing puppet costume type things that make them into giant ostrich-like birds from Australia.
Lion King.
Is this going to be your next Broadway show?
Yes.
Do you think it's got the legs and you're off and running?
Sure. I think what the world needs right now is a giant bird musical. Yes?
Exactly. You know, that's the truth. That is exactly what we need. We don't need another, version of Guys and Dolls or Back to the Future and all that stuff. We need a story about birds.
Emus.
But let's get back to your training. Where did you go to undergraduate school, first of all?
I went to undergraduate school at a private college called Florida Southern College, which is in Lakeland, Florida, which is a tiny town in the middle of Tampa and Orlando.
So how did you get into lighting? Were you a theater kid?
So I kind of fell into lighting by accident. I started out at Florida Southern as a musical theater kid. I was an actor in high school. And then the first show, my freshman year, I was not cast in it, but I wanted to be involved. 'Cause I'm very type A. So I volunteered to be the light board operator, and I fell asleep during a performance. And I panic woke up and double tapped go and then double tapped back on the board. It was an obsession too.
No.
That's the board I learned to program on. And the moving lights went all crazy, and an actor got left on stage in a blackout, and it was very clear that someone had messed up and that someone was me. And so as punishment for that big screw up, I was put on the light crew for the next play, during which I fell asleep again because part of my tech crew job on that show, the play was Dancing at Lunasa.
Great play.
It's a beautiful play. I love that play. I would love to see a revival of that play on Broadway.
Yeah, that's
it's
what they should
stunning
revive.
play.
Yes.
Because you need some sleep?
Because
you'd like to see the revival before you go to sleep again, or
relive those golden days. No, but one of my duties on that show was it was a thrust stage, and I had to lay on the catwalk overhead and keep an eye on these candles that smelled like bread to make sure that nothing burned. So you put me up in the dark, laying on a catwalk next to bread candles. Who wouldn't fall asleep during that? But I did. And so then as punishment for that, I had to work on light crew for the rest of the semester. But then when I came back that spring, I was like, surprise everybody, lighting design is actually really cool and I'm going to double major in this. So I graduated with a BFA in lighting design and a BFA in performance, but lighting just became my life. And the lighting teacher at Florida Southern College, he's the head of the design program, Jim Beck, is one of my mentors and continues to be such a dear friend. So I'm really grateful that he kicked my ass through all of that because I'm here now.
Yeah. So how did you make the jump from academic theater to the profession and then into New York, into the whole New York scene, which is a whole nother deal?
Sure. Well, so from undergrad, my first job out of undergrad was interning at the Riverside Theater in Vero Beach. And I went there because I had a bunch of friends from college who were already working there. So I thought, great, I'll go join up. And then after I finished my year there, I started working at Orlando Shakespeare. And my first year there, I did a second year of interning, and then I moved into a staff position after that. And that was also a great company to work for. And after working there for a couple years, I decided to go to grad school because for two reasons. One, I had pretty much lived like my whole adult life in Florida, so I just wanted to go somewhere else to see what was out there. And to be honest, like New York wasn't even a thought in my mind. I was like, I just want to go experience something else. And then also, I was starting to feel like all of my designs were looking and feeling the same, which is not a knock on the theater, like a fault of the theater at all. It's just like the same venue, like the same types of seasons every year, which are great. But for me as a designer, like it just all started feeling like the same thing. And so I wanted to go somewhere and have my designer brain like completely shaken up. So I went to Rutgers where I studied under Don Holder. And then I finished up at Rutgers, like just coming out of the shutdown. And I'm trying to remember what that was like.
It's best not remembering a lot of times.
I think I had already had Don was lighting Paradise Square, and he had already offered me a job to be the assistant lighting designer on it. Karen Spahn was the associate lighting designer. I love her. And we were doing the pre-Broadway tryout in Chicago. But I had a couple months between finishing school and starting that job. I had some friends moving to Brooklyn who were like, hey, we're looking for one more person. Do you want to come? And I said, sure. And we all threw our things in a U-Haul and went to Brooklyn. And I nannied for a couple months for Ben Stanton and Lucy McKinnon. And then in September, I went to Chicago and started Paradise Square. And then everything has just been trucking along from there. And I think that feeling of like, how did I get from school to New York and where I am now? Like I just moved into my own, I'm in a studio on 109th and Broadway. Like I got really lucky and snagged a rent stabilized place. And half of this I feel is like, yes, of course, absolutely. I worked really hard to get where I am. And then the other half of me is like, woof, I'm super lucky. Like, cool, I made it this far. Knock on wood, I'll just keep on keeping on.
Well, it takes both. You have to work very hard and you have to be lucky. There's a little bit of luck, but people make their own luck. And you seem to be a very boisterous, nice person.
Oh, thank you.
And as you know, in the theater, I mean, that's really important because we're all collaborators, we're all teammates, and that's fantastic. We've asked young designers before about, ones who are in New York, like you, if they deal with competition and jealousies and things like that.
Sure.
And how you keep on focused on your career and still keep focused on friends and also professional contacts and mentors.
Well, first off, the topic of jealousy, like what's that quote? Comparison is the death of joy, right? That is so true. And I really try to catch myself when I fall into that because it's human and natural, of course. I think, when a friend or colleague or whatever you see online, like someone's lighting something and like, there's two sides to the coin. I think that's completely human of like, wow, I wish I could have done that. Like, I wonder why I didn't get asked to do that, and then you think about your career. But then you also go like, oh, I'm so glad for my friend. Like, that's so exciting. And I think that as artists, like there is always going to be that underlying current of competition. Or not even competition, but like, I guess jealousy. Jealousy is not a negative word. I think a little bit of jealousy is healthy because you wanna like do the same caliber of work as your friends and feel like you are like making your stamp in the design world. But I think that it's really important. And I do this. I quite literally just talked about this with my therapist 2 days ago. I actively practice. I take 5 minutes in a day and just sit with myself and like say nice things to myself. And sometimes that might be about me as a person, or I'm talking about my work. Like this first day of tech coming in, I was like, this is a new musical. And I was really nervous because I hadn't really gotten to hear the music a lot yet because it was just all in flux and in the works. And coming into tech at first, I was like, oh my God, this tech's going to be a mess because I don't know all the music and maybe I'm not prepared enough and everyone's going to like get frustrated or judgmental of me. And then I had to stop and talk to myself and say like, Colleen, you've been working this long. Like you are creative. This room is full of nice people. Like you're a good person. Like just that sort of thing. Because I say a lot too, like, if you were meant to be there, you wouldn't be here. So like your friend who's lighting this thing that you think is really cool, that you wish you could do, sure. But also it's great that they're doing that for them. And like, you're doing this thing that you're supposed to be doing, and you wouldn't be doing this if they were doing it. And all of this is really easy to say, but I think very hard actually to practice, because I don't think that as artists and freelancers, we're not really taught a lot of that kind of self-care. And I started therapy because I wanted to learn how to be better to myself with that.
I think it's a real problem in this industry we've talked about in the past of keeping oneself healthy.
Yeah.
And it's kudos to you for not only keeping yourself physically healthy, but mentally healthy, because it is a tough business.
Thank you. It is. It's really hard, but good.
Yeah. How did you connect with Justin?
I cold emailed Justin, actually. And also, like, what a great designer and person. Like, I love working with him, and Nick Solium and Brad Gray. We're all in this panel together for Death Becomes Her. I cold emailed him when Here Lies Love had first gotten announced. I think I saw it on Playbill. I'm half Filipino. My mom is from Manila. And my mom had called me actually and was like, I just saw this announcement for a musical about Imelda Marcos. Like, can you work on it? And I was like, I don't know, but like, it's you sound really excited about it. Like, I'm going to try to find out more. And so I looked up who was designing, and I saw, Justin Townsend, and I Googled his email address. And then I just emailed him, and I was like, hey, my name's Colleen Doherty, like, blah, blah, Rutgers, all of these things. I saw Moulin Rouge, right before the shutdown started, and like your design was so beautiful, and I saw that you're doing Here Lies Love. I think the show is going to mean a lot to my mom. Like, if you have room at your tech table, I would love to be on your team for this. And then he emailed me back and was like, it's so lovely to hear from you. Like, let's talk on the phone. And so I talked with him and his associate on that, Jake DeGroot. And we all got on well enough. And so I jumped onto the show. And then now we've done 3 shows together, because I did Here Lies Love with him, and then Death Becomes Her. And then You're in Town at City Center. And after I get back from Goodspeed, I have a project at the New School. But then I'll be on Bat Boy at City Center with him again. So it just turned into this lovely, like, working relationship and friendship, which is great.
Justin's a great guy.
Yeah.
And just to do a little advanced PR for Light Talk, he will be the guest on the show in about a month.
Oh, great.
So you'll have to tune in.
I definitely will. And he's such a great person to work with. Everyone on the teams he assembles have just been a delight.
You actually have a broad base of professional designers, Broadway designers that you've assisted with. How do you manage to go from one to the other? I mean, cold calling, good for you.
Thank you. Actually, that is how, besides Paradise Square with Don, which he was very generous in offering me that job as his grad student, like right out of school, Justin Townsend and Corey Paddock, Jeff Coiter. Actually, Jeff Coiter came to my design showcase, which was great. It was so nice of him to come to that, and then he ended up hiring me out of there. But yeah, Corey and Jen Schriever, who I worked with recently.
Jaffe Weidman you worked with, I believe.
Jaffe Weidman, what a lovely human. All of these people are great. They're all people actually that I just emailed and was like, hey, I saw your work, and I would really love to like grab a coffee, or if the mood seemed appropriate, like, do you have room on this show? I saw that you're working on it and I'm really interested on it. Like, I'd love to jump in with you. And then it's gone from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Now, were you a member of United Scenic Artists when you were cold calling people, or did you take the test? How did you work that out?
I actually ended up buying my membership into USA 829 because in order to go with the show, to go with Paradise Square to Broadway, I had to be a member of the union. And the details are a little fuzzy because I've blocked out some of that. I'm sure we all know the crazy producer drama with that show. The fee for buying my way in is something along the lines of that. Like the production was supposed to pay for either part of that fee or the whole fee to buy my way into the union so I could continue on in a Broadway contract. And then they didn't. But I'm also like missing 2 paychecks on my health insurance from that show. So whatever. And at this point, like I've made that money back, so it's fine. But that's originally how that was all supposed to work out.
So you're doing pretty much everything on USA contracts now.
Yes, yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
One of our issues that we've talked about are USA rates for assistants and associates.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little bit? Because we always hear they're just not high enough.
Yeah, it's hard because I understand, of course, like theater is a business, but assistants and associates living in New York is expensive. And, more often than not, for a Broadway show, your assistant and associate team, a designer might come from wherever, which is great, but your assistants and associates more often than not are going to be local, right? So we need to be paid a living wage to survive in New York City. And it definitely is not easy all the time in terms of contract negotiation and trying to communicate like this is what I should get paid that I feel is fair to my experience, because we're putting in like hours and hours of work in and out of the theater to make sure that our designer is supported. And I feel very strongly because I've worked on 7 Broadway shows in the last like 2.5 years. And I think it's exciting, the scale of theater that we're able to achieve. But I think that if you are going to ask us to make this kind of theater happen for you, then the scale needs to reflect that. And negotiating a fair contract for both the Broadway League and also just on like a show-by-show basis, it's kind of like pulling teeth, which is fairly disheartening.
That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah.
How about the LORT contracts?
Okay. I haven't worked at a regional theater on a LORT contract in quite a while, but I recently worked on a Broadway production where I was on a LORT A+ contract. And that, for me personally, the company was great. The people were great. I don't think poorly of anybody in that room, but the rate that they were paying to get a Broadway level show, like, oof, I feel like I lost money working on that show a little bit. Again, I understand it's a business and all of that, but like what you ask of us to put on your stage needs to match the money you're willing to put out of it. I'm a big proponent of like, do the theater you can afford. And this also reflects back on companies who are like just finding their footings and things like that. Like you have to have the appropriate scale in your head for what you want on the stage versus what you can give to the people who are going to make it happen for you. And nothing made me pull my hair out more than doing the work I was doing for that show and knowing what I was making and having people on the management end be like, well, this is what it is under the LORT A+ guidelines, so you just have to like suck it up and do it. And that's not to say you don't have to suck it up and do it. You have a choice to say yes or no to a contract. And I said yes, but I said yes because I really believed in the people that I was working with and wanted to see. Like my friend was making their Broadway debut as a designer, and I was like, absolutely, I want to be on your team and like help you make that happen because it's so exciting and like you're a wonderful human, you deserve this, like yes, let's go. And then sometimes I lay in bed at night and I'm like, oof, the kindness of one's heart does not pay your rent.
What happens is we do shows because of the same reason you just said. We want to work with those people. We see a future in the show and all that. And a lot of times these LORT companies, and believe me, I'm not a defender of LORT theaters, but they don't have a lot of money in their budgets. But when it moves to a commercial type of entity, That's usually when the payoff happens. And in a way, this sort of happens in all areas of lighting design, in the theater, in the opera, in dance. As you move up, whether you're going, you do a dance piece at, Orlando, dance company, and for some reason it moves then into a different venue, then you go ahead and you start getting that money back. You start renegotiating your fees. Same thing when a show moves to Broadway. That's why a lot of designers, at least back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, those shows that started out of town were very scaled down, and then they scale them up. All of a sudden, you're on Broadway, you scale them up, and your fees get bigger. You're really smart because you understand that the people are the most important people to get connected with. And a lot of times you get connected with them in these small companies. And then when they move to Broadway, so they move to, the Met or places like that, they're going to call you.
Yeah.
Because they like working with you and they like your design work and they just like you on the team. And that's when you do it. And you're kind of seeing it now. And so when you go back to like doing the regional theaters, you've already been on Broadway, it's like, well, why can't we have a $2 million lighting budget?
Sure.
Because they don't have that may be their entire budget for the entire season. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest problem, though, is we're all artists, and it's very difficult for artists to sell a product when the product they're selling is themselves and their artistic integrity. That's why, so many of my friends have agents or managers, and some don't because they don't want to have to pay somebody an extra 15%. But those that don't want to have to negotiate money for their art usually try. I assume you don't have an agent, do you?
I do not, no.
Yeah, for the few years you've been in New York and working in the professional world, your business acumen is to be applauded, and the way that you manage yourself. Do you want to get an agent, or you don't want to be bothered going that route?
No, I would like to someday. I think I'm just not in a place yet. Like, I want my design career to be a little fuller. And then I would. I keep thinking about a question you guys had asked at the beginning before we started recording about thinking about advice for people coming into the business. And one thing that keeps popping into my head is making sure you are knowledgeable of financial health and negotiating your contracts. Because like contract negotiation in both undergrad and graduate school, we talk about the bullet points of what's in a contract, but we don't really talk about the practice of negotiating for one. And I think that also for women in particular, we're not taught about like financial health. And I'm grateful in that my parents did have the wherewithal to sit me down one day and be like, let's talk about money and like different bank accounts and things like that, et cetera, et cetera. But I think even going from my job at Orlando Shakes, I was there for almost 5 years, and that was like a steady like 9 to 5 staff job. And going from that into freelancing, like, wow, the way I had to learn so quickly about revamping budgeting and like retirement accounts and like what a Roth IRA is and insert money something here. Just having that knowledge and not being afraid to ask your friends for help in learning about it, I think is such a huge advantage to being a freelancer, particularly living in New York, because everything there is just so expensive.
And it's also an industry where people will just take advantage.
Yeah. And
it's unfortunate.
And if you don't have an agent to cover you and protect you from those things, then having a good financial knowledge, for lack of better phrasing, having a strong knowledge of finances, just enables you to protect yourself as you're working.
I have a little bit of advice for you, because it sounds like right now you're starting to get these shows that are starting out of town and are going to move hopefully to Broadway at a time. And the time to get an agent that you trust actually is now, because as you sign these contracts, you've got to be protected for if that show does move. And, there's standard USA language in these contracts about moving shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that you're going to be talking about percentages, about royalties, about points, things like that.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. And if I was in your position, I'd ask Justin or someone who you're close to, and they know, and say, hey, I think is now the time. And I know this happened to me when I was working with Paul, and he said, we're going to Europe. I mean, my first European show was at La Scala. That was crazy, right? He said, we're going to Europe, and I'm going to give you my agent. He normally doesn't do designers. He just does directors and singers. He says, but he'll do this as a favor. And that was the greatest blessing that he gave me because I knew nothing about it, especially designing in Europe. And I'm sure that with the people someone could lead you to somebody so that you could protect yourself before you start moving these shows, because one's going to hit, that.
Broadway needs a musical about emus, like from your lips to whoever's ears.
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So the craziest things happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at the producers. They never thought that would be a hit.
Right?
Oh, my God.
And yet here we are.
Anyway, so Springtime for Hitler.
My God.
But seriously, I think that would be really wise at this point for you. Because it's not like you're still struggling. It's like people are discovering you. You're being discovered. And I think that's really a positive thing. Just protect yourself so that you're ready to go on.
While we're talking about money, going back in your career, Colleen, you took a gap period of 4 or 5 years between your BFAs and your MFA. Did you end up having to pay for your MFA, or did you get a free ride assistantship or scholarship?
I got almost my entire graduate schooling covered financially. Like, I became a resident of New Jersey, and I had an assistantship through Mason Gross. I had to take out like a small amount of student loans to pay for life, like rent in an apartment, things like that. But it wasn't awful.
One of the ongoing topics we talk about on Light Talk is whether or not grad school is actually worth the cost of what it takes for all the loans, and to graduate after 2 or 3 years owing a couple $100,000. Is it worth it? I mean, did you find that grad school was worth it for you, or is it something people should just skip?
Oh, I definitely thought it was worth it for me. I definitely would not be where I am now if I did not go to grad school. I think before grad school, it was living in New York and working on the caliber of theater I've been working on. Like, it didn't even cross my mind that would be something that I could do. Like, if you went back to 2012, Colleen graduating from undergrad, and told her this is where you'll be in 2025 having done all these things, and you live in your own apartment in New York, I would be like, no, like, what are you talking about? So definitely worth it.
Was it the graduate school in 2021 that made your career work, or was it having been to a graduate school that allowed you to associate with Don Holder?
Both. I like to think that if I had gone to any other grad school and, kept my what is the phrase? Your nose to the grindstone? That's not the phrase.
Yes.
Oh, great. Yes. If I put my nose on that grindstone and did my work the way that I did my work, and then moved to the city, that I would definitely be capable of building my career the way that I have built it. And at the same time, yes, I am so aware of the doors that were open for me by being Don Holder's grad student, and I am not delusional enough to say that everything would be the same either way. I think if I didn't have that connection, I would still get here, but it would be a much different path. But having Don's name when I first got out the gate definitely was a big step up to where I was.
Thank you for your honesty.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, this is what we talk about all the time on this show. We talk about graduate schools because a lot of us, we're grad teachers. Some are still grad teachers. And I don't understand why anybody would go to a graduate school without a working professional in that school.
Yeah.
It is because, yes, you could learn all about lighting you want, but to be successful in the business, you need connections.
Absolutely.
And you need someone who's working in it now and knows everything that's going on. Because, like I just said before, you talk to Don, you talk to they know about agents, they know about this stuff.
Yeah.
And they know how to get you, and they asked you to be on a show on Broadway. I mean,
Yeah.
how many assistant lighting designers that would kill to have the opportunities that you have? And a lot of it is because you've made these connections. You're a nice person. You're smart. You're
Thank you.
knowledgeable. But you see, they may be nice, smart, knowledgeable too. But if they don't know the people, it's hard to meet these people. And that's unfortunately where, hundreds of people a year go to New York, think they're going to be lighting designers, but they don't have the key. They need to get the key.
Also, just to quickly answer your question of why I picked Rutgers, I picked it because of Don Holder.
Right.
I came to interview with him, and he sent me to The Lion King, and then I met him at Rutgers again later that week, and he was like, "So you saw my show? Do you want to learn from me?" And I went, "Yes, sir, I do." And it went from there. Absolutely. But I tell people all the time, this is the advice that I give to everybody who ever asks. If you are coming into the city or anywhere, and they say, like, how did you get the jobs that you did and all of these things? I tell people the cold emailing that I do, like, do that. If there's a director you love or a designer you love, send the email saying, hey, I saw your work. I loved it for reasons XYZ, or however you craft that email. I would love to grab a coffee, or if you feel like it's appropriate, you could be bold and ask if they have room on their team for a show, because you miss out on all the chances you don't take. And also, we're all artists. Like, who doesn't want to get an email from someone saying, I'm really inspired by your work, I would love to meet you and work with you? Like, everybody loves that because it validates that, like, you're doing work that matters, right, to somebody. And if you pay that kind of compliment to a designer and they're not great about it or mean, and when I say not great about it, like, not, oh, sorry, like, no job or anything, but I just mean, like, is, like, harsh in their response, because sometimes that happens. Like, sometimes people don't want to hear that or whatever. Like, that also opens your eyes to, like, the kind of communities you want to be in and things like that. And on a more positive note, if somebody reads that, like Justin with me, and they're like, oh, thank you so much for reaching out, and it leads to all these pathways in your life, then great. But you just have to try.
I have to congratulate you for saying that, because as a designer who's been doing this for years, I'm always telling younger people, if I meet them at master classes or trade shows, call, reach out.
Yeah.
Don't hold back. And for whatever reason, not everybody has the chutzpah or the personality that you have to actually do that. And it's one of the keys to success.
Yeah. Thank you.
In what you did, if you had to look back on your career, looking back at a 25-year-old Colleen, what do you wish you didn't do that might have been a step backwards in your career?
What do I wish I didn't do? That would be a step backwards.
Just for, younger people going out, something to advise them.
Yeah.
Don't do this. It messed me up.
Well, that's a hard question. Like, tons of things, and I'm trying to pick, like, what's the most valuable.
This is light talk. We don't ask the easy questions.
I think from an emotional standpoint, it took a long time for me to learn how to stick up for myself and how to feel comfortable taking up space in a room. And I think that early career, even when I was working in Orlando, early career me of feeling like, how do I, like, in air quotes, fit in as a theater person, right? Because I think, of course, we all know a huge part of doing our jobs, whether you're a director or a designer or an actor, like, yes, you're doing the art, but also you're trying to find the right pieces that fit together in the puzzle, and you want people to like what they see. And sometimes I think that feeling of wanting people to like what they see, that can bleed too far into your personal life and your personal self, right? So if I could tell anything to my younger self for people coming in, don't forget yourself in what you're doing. If something doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. That's okay. Don't do the thing that is going to make you feel later like you stepped away from what you value. Because even if right now the economy is what it is and like the world is what it is and maybe there's a ton of people and not a lot of jobs, if say yes to everything when you can because that's exciting and who knows what will happen. But if something doesn't feel right to you, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. I would tell younger me that because I think there were things younger me, like if I said no, I would have saved myself a lot of work.
That is wise, wise, wise words.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Colleen.
I just was going to ask her what she's going to do at LDI this year because she's on like 3 or 4 panels.
Oh, my God. You're already famous.
Oh, God.
Hey, hey, you want to be a Lumen sister? You could be an honorary Lumen sister on Sunday at 12:30. We have a spot for you because Stan's not going to be there.
Absolutely.
Okay, 12:30.
I would love that. I will come find you guys.
Hang on. Let's step back from that. Remember what you just said.
Right.
Sometimes it's just not right.
And
Don't say
sometimes
yes
you got
to
to say
it.
no.
Yeah, but that feels super right. I'll come hang out.
Yeah, come hang out.
This could
We'll at least
affect
hang
your
out at the bar.
career.
In a good
This
way.
will affect your career
It
negatively.
will affect your career.
Yeah.
Not a good way.
You better believe that when I got the email from Ellen, I texted all of my lighting friends and was like, you guys, guess what I just got asked? Oh my God. So I will come find you and thank you for asking me. But at LDI, I'm presenting on 3 panels. I'm doing one called Secrets You Would Die For with Justin Townsend, Nick Solium, and Brad Gray, where we're going to talk about all things Death Becomes Her lighting. And then I'm doing a panel moderated by June Abernathy, who is such an incredible human. For those of you listening who don't know, June is one of the lead electricians for the Lion King tours, and she makes sure that all of the electricians going out on, insert like 100th national, international tour here knows all things follow spots on top of whatever else with the lighting team. And she's incredible. And I'm doing 2 panels with her. One is called The Art of Calling Follow Spots, along with Meg Sump, who is another touring electrician, and then The Future of Follow Spots, again with June Abernathy and Bob Bonial. And I've never actually met Bob or Meg, so this will be fun.
Yeah, you're going to have a great time.
I'm
That's
excited.
gonna be great.
You know what I'm looking forward to? I mean this with all sincerity. I'm really looking forward to about 18 months from now when we interview you for your first Tony with your Emu musical.
Yeah, the Emu musical.
I'm so looking forward to that, and I so hope it happens.
Me too.
Thank
Hey,
you.
don't knock emus.
No.
Okay, we've got the egg.
If you guys
know.
want to, come on out to Goodspeed and see it. Our first show is, I think, October 3rd. Is that a true
wow.
statement? It might be sooner.
Don can certainly tell you about lighting humans as puppets.
Yes, he can. We'd be in Light Lab at Rutgers, and he'd talk about the Lion King, and I would go, "Oh, is that the one with the singing lions?" And he would just side-eye me.
You know Don's dirty secret. On Light Talk, we found out that when he was at Yale, he said sometimes days would go bad, and he would go back to his apartment and sit in the corner and play the tuba.
Yep.
No.
He was in the marching band and a tuba player.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
check out that episode when we have him on the show. Well,
That's
Colleen, thank
funny.
you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for
on,
having me.
Light Talk. It's always a pleasure talking to young artists, and you're a lovely, lovely person, and we're all the best of luck. We have no doubts that you're going to be successful, okay?
Thank you so much.
So-
That means a lot.
And we will see you at LDI, okay?
Yeah, you will.
For sure.
Right. And I have a little bit of advice. Do not go to the donut store, okay?
Don't
That's
go to
most
the
important.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, you know where you will find me, though. You'll find me at the poker table. I learned recently I really like Texas Hold'em.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, stay away from me because,
There goes that A+ money.
yeah, there
Oh,
goes
God.
that
Wait.
money. You better get that agent now.
Maybe I'll make more.
Steve, wasn't one of our recent sponsors that donut company?
Yeah. Oh, I think that sponsor's coming up, actually. A new donut company.
Oh my God.
Just for Steve. Okay, well, the rocking sounds of the Luminoids tell us that once again you've spent another morning listening to Light Talk. You can hear our show on just about every podcast site out there. Check out our website at lighttalk.org and be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to that podcast. That way you will not miss a second of Light Talk insanity.
No guarantee is offered regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. However,
if you do decide to litigate, you will have to deal with me, Snoot from the Snoot Group. And don't get it twisted. Just because I married one of these losers does not mean I will go easy on you. So don't with me.
Light Talk is written and produced by the Lumen Brothers
And Sister.
Coming to you from St. Bart's, Long Beach, the Lone Star State, the entertainment capital of the world, New York, New York, and from the second internet capital of the world, Weston, Vermont.
Then be sure to join us next week when we talk about more lighting shenanigans and serve you much more of our casserole of nonsense.
Light Talk, broadcasting questionable Lumen knowledge and humor around the world.
So thanks again to our special guest, Colleen Doherty, for adopting all those beautiful emus, and we'll see you all next week on Light Talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye.